Class is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's webinar, where we will be going through some live trades. My name is Odwa Magwentshu, and I'll be taking you through this webinar. Just a few basic house rules. Firstly, we're going to wait for everyone to get on board. We have 130 registrations, and so far only 17 people have registered. So let's give them 5 to 10 minutes to get on board. However, those who are already on board, if you guys can just let me know if you can hear me through the questions tab, or if you have any questions, I can unmute you and then we can continue. If I'm talking too loud, please tell me as well. That can easily be arranged. Okay, thank you, Godfrey. Thank you, Marius. Thank you, Tadumlungis. Okay, I see the numbers are coming in. We have 21 people at the moment. If you guys can also let me know if you can see everything. Okay. Hi, Faith, I've unmuted you. If you, yes, Nomta, what's your question? Okay, I'll unmute you now. Yes, Nomta.
Hi, Odwa. I have a question about the toolbox. I cannot see, no, sorry, not the toolbox, but the navigator. So I have my data window, market watch, and then toolbox, but I cannot view the navigator for some reason. But I do go to view next to file, and then when I click this, but I don't know, it's like it's there, but I can't see it.
Okay, it could be possibly minimized there next to you.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think you are right, but I don't know why it's minimized and how to make it maximized.
Okay, we might have to have a separate session for that. I would have to go through your system itself.
Okay.
Okay, no problem, Nomta.
Okay. Okay. So we cannot fix it at the moment, yeah?
No, not. I'm thinking of the other people on the webinar as well. We have quite a bit, so we'll fix it afterwards. Just remind
Yes.
me.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, it's all right. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, we're 1 minute away from starting. I've got my play here. Need some energy to start trading. But as we see, we got 35 people who are on board. We want to see how it goes and if more people get involved. 5 past, it's already 5 past. We should start trading. And as I said again, if you have any questions, please write them down. in the questions tab so that everyone can see it, or if you have a long question, we can unmute you like we did with Nomta, and then everyone can hear your question. Okay. Okay, I see a hand is raised. Okay, Tisha. Hi, Tisha. Numbers at the bottom of my chart screen. You mean the date? Oh, okay. I see what you mean. That's usually for news events that came out during the day. It tells you if there was a news event. Where do I go? It corresponds with the calendar. However, as you can see, with depending on the color, it depends on the urgency of the news, or the impact of the news, rather. Okay. And then we have a hand raised. This is going to be the last question, and then we're going to start. Faith, I've unmuted you. Please unmute yourself. Okay. Never mind, seems Faith doesn't have a question. Okay, I assume that there are no more questions, and we are about to start. Let Johnny, I'm using a demo account. Okay. Starting things off, this is the platform. And just keep in mind, I assume you already know how to use the platform, so we am not going to go through too much details. However, if I'm going too fast, please let me know, and I'll step back a bit for that. As we said, the few house rules. Number one is that we're trying to make as many trades as possible, and also to keep it easy, we're going to keep the volume at 1, meaning that for every point it goes in our direction, we make 1 rand for all the trades we're going to make today. And number two is that we're going to stick to currencies, commodities, and indices. Basic reason is that the CFD markets, or the equity markets, are closed at the moment, which makes it irrelevant. I mean, it's pointless rather to go into those trades. Okay, and those are the main ground rules that we're going to start with. And another ground rule is that we're going to use a risk-reward ratio is 1 to 1. Well, sorry, because we're scalping, we don't have a risk-reward ratio. We're not going to wait for take profits. We are going to put stop losses, however. So we can lose some money from this. However, we're not going to put take profits. What we are going to do is that every time we make 10 rands, we're going to get out of the position. The point of scalping is trying to make as much money as possible, as often as possible. It's not about making a big trade. It's all about making small trades and capitalizing on that. Now, I'm going to start on an hour chart in terms of my analysis, so that we can see what the direction of the market is currently, and then work accordingly. Okay, I'm just putting everything in an hour chart. So we actually may start on a 4-hour chart. Excuse me. The reason why I'm taking a 4-hour chart, as I stated, is that we want to see where the market's going, and in the long term, and not to go against the trend. There's a saying in trading where the trend is your friend, and you don't want to go against it. If you guys also have any ideas, I want this to be very interactive, and I would like it and appreciate it if you have any trade ideas, or you want me to look at any particular instrument that we can analyze together and make a trade off in this hour. Okay, we're going to start. Sorry, I'm just putting everything in a 4-hour chart. Okay, here's a nice one. On a 4-hour chart, we have Euro USD. First of all, we're going to take the trend line. Quick look there. Euro USD has just broken out of that trend line. And we have a horizontal line here representing, this should represent then a a resistance line. It's broken out of the channel, the downward trend line rather, and it's just above the resistance line. As you can see, there are two candlesticks here at the end. Here. And what this candlestick represents for me is that after it broke out, the candlestick was also green, meaning that it's a confirmation that there's an upward movement for this trend, for this trade. And that being the case, the positions I'm going to look to get involved with this on a 50-minute chart is a long position. That's for Euro USD. So if you have a pen and paper right next to you, please write down Euro USD long. So we're not going against the trend. We're saying Euro USD is long. And then we're going to go through the rest of the five so that at least we know what pattern we're going for. And if you have a look here quickly, we have a channel in which the instrument is trading on. Now, it seems like it's reached the peak of the channel. However, because this is still a 4-hour chart, there is some possible movement upwards. It may not be a lot, but it is something that we're going to capitalize on. So it could get up to, let me just draw a horizontal line. Sorry about that. That's not going to work. Okay, it's not going to work, but however, we do expect, as I said, upward movement rather. So we're going to buy here. Okay, that's the FTSE. We go to gold. With gold, we can see a couple of lines here. Got that long-term trend line. And what we can see is that it's recently just broken out of this trend line. Actually, that's not accurate. It broke out of there. However, we've missed that movement. There was a false breakout around this level. Around this level, there was a false breakout. Came back down in again. Broke out here. Confirmed the breakout. Retested. Consolidated for a while. Retested the trend line again. And now it is broken up. Now, in terms of this, I'm not actually looking at this real quick. I see that it was consolidating for quite some time on the 4-hour chart. And I'm just going to put here another line in which it broke out of. So now for this as well, we're looking at a long position. Also going to buy when it goes there. Sorry. And because of the trend line, the red trend line, if you see it, there's a possible movement for this to get up to, let's just look at the price, get up to 13.25. That will be our take profit for this particular trade. Reason I say 1325, number one is it's a, if you can see here, it's a resistance level, 1, 2. Okay, roughly it kind of touches. It's not a strong resistance line, but you can see that it has been retested here a couple of times. Okay, so it's not the strongest resistance line, but it is something to aim towards. GBP has been tanking, especially after today, the announcement that inflation rates will not change, and that was a negative. Sorry, the pound reacted negatively towards that. So anticipating further drop on this particular instrument. However, if you have a look quickly, it has been consolidating in the past since the 4th of May. 4 days, okay, 6 days rather. Past 6 days, it's been consolidating sideways. However, if you look previously on the 24th of April, it did consolidate sideways and then didn't do research, but it did also drop after that. Okay. If we have a look here, the black lines, I was with a client yesterday showing him how to use the platform, and we went through putting daily support and resistance lines. So we made the purple lines 4 hour support and resistance lines, as you can see here and here, and there. And then we made then the black lines your daily support and resistance lines. Last one's the S&P 500. As you can see, I've been very artistic on this particular chart. And nice to see that there is there's that particular there is a rough trend line going down there. However, you can also see that this is a major point of resistance. Well, not major, but it has found some resistance here before. As you can see, 1, 2, around this area, around that area as well, but it did manage to break through rather there. So here we anticipate there might be a drawback when it comes to this particular instrument. What I can do is edit the Fibonacci line and add more towards it. Let me just get the Fibonacci line edited for you. Where do I go again? I need to add 71.8. Okay. And as I stated, so if you have a look there on the weekly chart, we drew a Fibonacci line from this point up until the peak, and we saw that there was some retracement to the 38.2 line, and it bounced up and down. Right now, it's actually at the 71.8 line, and we're anticipating a reversal there. So right now at this point, when it comes to the S&P 500, it could go either way. But as you can see, we're on a weekly chart that we're showing here. So we're not going to wait the entire week in order to see what happens. And as we zoom in on the time frames, we see here on the daily chart that it is still going strong in that direction. And that's when zooming in some more comes into play. So from here, there is a possibility that it could turn here. Okay, now we've gone 4 hours. Just going to take a round of questions quickly. Okay, Johan van Nikak asks that how do you get his he wants to show his red and green candlesticks. I'll show you that quickly. Charles wants to know how to put the time frames on top. I can easily do that. Neil wants to do S&P 500, which we've just done. Priscilla, I'm not sure what about your question. There is a Fibonacci icon on the bar. Yes, there is. I'm not sure where the questions is alluding to. If you can just elaborate further on that. Okay. Disha is asking, why did I start the Fibonacci retracement that close instead of going all the way back? Fibonacci lines, to be honest, when it comes to analyzing, it's totally up to you. However, I didn't want to go too far back. What I could have also done is do the Fibonacci line from this point. Right. But it would rather be around this point. I don't quite remember, to be honest, why I chose that particular area. For me, it looked right. I know that doesn't sound like an informed answer, but let's just test your theory out. If we start there, so also what you want to do is that you want to take it where there's a long run happening. However, if we also look when we zoomed in a bit more, the Fibonacci line also is conformed with this. As you see, it almost tested there, and that's where it's bouncing a bit. And on the 50-point line, it's tested there a couple of times. So as long as there's a strong run first before there is a retracement, you can do a Fibonacci line from there. The rule of thumb is that there have to be at least 8 candlesticks in succession. Well, not all of them must be green. However, it must show a positive move. So for example, you're not going to do a Fibonacci line around this area. Even though there was a long movement, you're not going to do a Fibonacci line here because there's a lot of retracement that's been happening with it. So Fibonacci lines usually work best, in my opinion, when it comes to stocks that have been running. So if you're looking at individual stocks, I would look at Clicks and what's the other one? And Discount. They have been having a nice strong run, and they started to pull back as of late. Hence our trade note by our trade specialist, Barry Dumont. Okay. Johan, to get those stuff back, all you have to do is press Control M and N. Okay, I'm writing down notes. I must do something on Brent, USD, JPY. Okay. And to answer Johan's earlier question, Johan, just right-click anywhere on the chart, and then go to Templates. No, you don't. You go to Properties. In Properties, what you're going to do is that you're going to go to Common, click Candlesticks, and then go to Colors, and then play with the colors. bar up and bar down, keep those black. Blue candle make it lime, bear candle make it red. And that's how you set everything up. And after you've set everything up, excuse me, you go and say save template and save it as default with a lowercase d. Then every chart you open, it's going to show that particular movement. That templates that you have designed. And then we said we want to also do something on Brent as a request for my many clients that are joining me right now. Okay, we also have hands up. Actually, we don't. We don't have any hands up. Okay, so we continue. With Brent, we also do the same thing. Go to a daily chart first. Also keep in mind with regards to Brent, there's a lot of economic data that's coming out. That's why it's been running so much. So with regards to Brent, it's not really, how can I put this? Not really based on technicals that made the run happen. It's based on President Donald Trump deciding to withdraw from the nuclear deal with Iran. The reason why it's such a big deal is that Iran supplies a large amount of countries with oil, and because now they can't produce the oil anymore, as the United States has pulled out of the deal, there is a shortage in the markets in terms of oil. Now, I'm not sure if you know anything about supply and demand, but economics runs mostly on that principle where if there is a high demand for something, however, there isn't a supply, then the price of that particular instrument in this case tends to grow up. To go up, sorry, not grow up. That tends to go up. So based on that, that's why this particular instrument has been rallying so much in the past few days. Well, let's say in the past 2 days. Actually, it started rallying when President Macron from France visited the United States president, and he announced after the meeting that he senses that President Donald Trump is going to announce that he's going to pull out of the Iran nuclear agreement. Okay, so with Brent on a daily chart, we have a quick look here. Right now, we have this trend line going up. Just for safekeeping, we want to safeguard the bottom as well. Oh, sorry, just for good measure, rather. And then you see that there's a channel there going on a weekly, just okay. Okay, there's not much I can see on a weekly chart. Try not to waste too much time. Sorry, everyone. Try not to waste too much time. We need to start making these trades. We are behind on our Euro USD. What I'll do, I'll go into our 50-minute chart. And what I wanted to show you, so if you have a look here, I said we're going to buy when it comes to this particular instrument. Another thing we have noticed is that it's broken out of the line, and the line is not accurate. It's a rough estimate it's a rough estimate of where it should be around. What happened is it broke out, it came back to retest the trend line, didn't necessarily get there, and now it's continuing to go up. This is showing that there is there's a change in direction in terms of the movement of the market, and what you can do now is go long on this particular instrument. So that's what I'm going to do first, is that I'm going to go long on this Euro USD trade. As we stated, our volume is going to stick to 1, and we're going to buy. Boom. As we said, we have a target of 10, and we can then put the stop loss just below there. Reasoning I'm putting it just below there, what usually happens is it might come back again, and you try and put it just below the previous low. If it does hit your low, sorry about that. If it does hit your low, that's a bad trade, unfortunately. But learn to take your losses and go to the next trade. That's the whole point of trading on a 15-minute time frame. You get in and out, in and out. So we'll let this simmer as we continue with the webinar. Looking at the FTSE as well, zooming in a bit more. As you can see, you could say that this indicates the previous high. Right here, this indicates a previous high. It has managed to break above that previous high. However, it seems like the bears in the market don't want it to surpass this amount. But if it does continue to go up, there is movement up until there, up until the top of the channel. Okay, so that's that. There's no actually, sorry, I'm looking at the hour chart. That is not correct. 15-minute chart confirms what I'm saying. Okay, so what you can do is that you use the same knowledge or ideology of support and resistance lines, and as you zoom in more on terms of how the markets are moving in that particular instance. If you can see here, just to divert a bit, there was a head and shoulders pattern that formed here. So here's the left hand shoulder, here's the right hand shoulder, and this is the head, or rather an inverse head and shoulders pattern. And how you would have analyzed this, that you would have put a line like that to draw on the neckline. So this is one neckline, and that's one dot of the neckline, the other dot of the neckline. Just extend it a bit more, and as soon as it broke out, that's an indication that it's going to go from the neckline to the head, that distance. And if we have a look here, there is still some potential growth in this trade. It's not much. So we're gonna skip that. This is the one I'm quite excited about. Okay, it's broken out clearly, and as you can see, here's the bottom trend line there. Broken out of this trend line. So what we're going to do is that we're going to buy until it reaches there. So let's do that. Let's purchase. As I said, we stick to a volume of 1. I'm going to buy this one. Take profits at, we stated 135, I believe, earlier. But just let's see how far this one goes as well. Going to the cable rate. Cable is starting to retrace. It's had a bad day today, so it's retracing now. And from its retracement, we're anticipating that it's going to get at least up to there, to the what did I call it? The trend line, 4-hour trend line. So if you hover on it, it also tells you which time frame you took this line from. So we can see it's from the 4-hour trend line. It's broken above. It might come back to retest this trend line and then continue going up. So what we're going to do is just purchase it real quick. Also, just keep in mind, I do anticipate that some of these trades might not be successful. Hence, you want to place as many trades as possible, as trading is a rule of averages. And last but not least, we're going to look at the S&P 500. Having a quick look there, it's broken above that Fibonacci line. And zooming in a bit more, yes, it has confirmed it's above it, so we're also going to buy one here. Now I'll answer your questions as soon as I place this trade. Is there someone unmuted? Okay. Okay, we got questions. Okay. Disha, I see you have a bit to say. What do I mean by hands up? If you go to attendees, there's a raised hand option there. If you say raised hand, I will unmute you and you will chat, but let's do that right now. I've unmuted you. Let's hear what you have to say, sir.
No, okay. Now I understand what you mean by hands up.
Okay. Do you have any question? I see here you already have a short position.
Yes. On the USD yen, correct.
Speak to us.
I'm just trying to establish. Okay, I'm just trying to establish if there's a little bit more movement left downwards towards the 109.40.
Okay.
Just to get your sort of insight in it.
Okay, no problem. Let's hear from anyone else. I'll answer you, Disha. Let's just hear what everyone else has to say. Priscilla, I'll look into the Dow Jones, but not just yet. But I have noted it. Tamsang, I would not advise you to buy and hold on GT247, a stock. Okay, Neil, I'll go back to that. So on our platform, it is not possible to hedge. Okay. So we're going back to Neil and Priscilla's questions. Neil is if there's any more downside movement on the USD JPY. Okay, which I do not have on the watch list at the moment. Okay, I'm going to start everything from scratch again. Starting off. Got the trend line. I was looking at this a bit earlier. Excuse me. You have there's a daily support and resistance line there, roughly around that area. And if you have a quick look, there is a head and shoulders inverse head and shoulders pattern that has formed. Here's the left shoulder over here, right shoulder slightly creeping in at the moment. So we anticipate if it does break above this 110 mark, 110.15, we're anticipating more movement in the upward direction. There was a mini head and shoulders a while back here when it reached the very bottom of this formation. Here is the left shoulder, here is the right shoulder, and after it broke out of there, it got to the first around this point. Okay, so now that's on the daily chart, so that doesn't say anything. Disha, we still have to go zoom in a bit further. So if you have a look there, Disha, I think you actually might be onto something. But will it get to 109.40? Yeah, I see possible movement to get to 109.40. On a 4-hour chart, it has retraced slightly in the interim. It has retraced slightly, but here's something else I think that you might. So I'm not sure if you've read a bit up on our blogs, but we've spoken about channel lines and channel lines rather. And when you have a channel, what you do is go top to bottom, boom. So I think that it's reached its peak according to the channel line on an hour chart. However, it does seem like there is still some further downward movement for the USD JPY currency pair. From here, so it did retrace. Zoom in, put in another trend line there. Okay, but that's on an hour chart. And there we go. We do another channel. And on a shorter time frame, look at that marvel. Look at that. See, I think you're onto something. Okay. So by the looks of things, it seems like it's going to continue going down to around about 109.35. So here again, let's short this. So Johan asks, how do I do the buy? How do I do a buy? So what we do, we right click on the chart, go to trading, and then go to new order. On the new order, if you click on the chart you're looking to trade on, it's going to automatically put the symbol in. You leave it as market execution. Determine your volume, and as we said in the beginning of this webinar, we're going to stick to 1. And then what we're going to do is then you pick whether to buy or sell. And for this, I'm going to say sell, right? And then if you want to put a stop loss, you can either go to the toolbox here at the bottom, right click, say modify and or delete, and then put your stop loss. Or you can grab where the trade is and then pull the stop loss to where you want it to be. Okay. Okay. Tanda's asking, I'm trading on my mobile device and trades that are left to run overnight close and open at different prices with a float P&L. Is this due to the change from mobile? It is a company decision that we have decided to go with, and what that is basically a mark-to-market. Mark-to-market report that is run. So it tells you what your holdings are and so on and so forth, how much you won or lost for the day. It gives you a report so you can focus more on your trading and also do analysis. One of the best hedge fund managers in the world, Ray Dalio, he released a book called Principles. It's a very, very good book. I suggest either you get the audiobook from Audible or buy the physical book itself. It's a very good book in terms of how the principles behind managing your funds and also when it comes to trading. His main focus in the book is that it's you don't look for what you know, is you look at how could you be wrong. And that's how most people make money in the markets, is that you try and bet against what everyone else is saying. Okay, I hope that assisted you. Johan, I still, as Tanda has rightfully illustrated, that your trade gets closed out and open each and every day. You can hold it for a few days. However, there is an overnight charge for number one holding it. It's called it's the Sable rate plus minus 2.5%. So that you must just be aware of if you decide to go that route. Number one, excuse me, and yeah, you can if you want to, but if you want to do more long-term type of investments, the best place to go for that is easy equities. There aren't any monthly fees. There's no overnight fees. That's why I say that that's the best place to go. Tamsan was asking, my account does not show South African instruments such as OK, etc., etc. Also, my demo account does not show these. It does. The demo account does show them. What you have to do is just right-click and say Show All, and then actually say Hide All, and then where it says Click to Add, just write the instrument you want to have available. Okay, number one. And on your live account, the reason why it is not added by default is that there's a monthly fee for having JC listed instruments on your platform. So in order for you have to agree to those fees to come off monthly. So if you want JC listed instruments, just give us a shout. Send an email to new accounts at gt247.com and ask them with your MT5 number, ask them to activate it for you. Richard's asking, why am I using a 50-minute instead of a 5-minute? Main reason is because of what we're doing right now. 5 minutes is not going to be enough for me to go back and discuss and everything. So 50-minute gives me a bit more chance to speak, and also the data is much more cleaner in a 50-minute chart than on a 5-minute chart. And to be frank, it's my personal it's what I like to do. It's my personal skill, or not skill, it's my personal touch. If you want to do 5 minutes, it's totally up to you. My thing, the saying is, as soon as you start to doubt your system, what works for you, that's when you start losing when it comes to trading. So if 5 minutes works for you, Richard, go for it 100%. For me, I'm not a fan of the 5-minute chart. I already drink a lot of energy drinks. My heart would not be able to, to stick with it. Grant wants to see auto trading. Okay, we'll do that as well. Okay, Gachis, I'll answer you on your margin. So there's a Dow Jones trade we must look at, and margin. How to calculate margin. Okay, I've written it down. Neliswe. No, Neliswe, yeah, that's correct. Nelisio, sorry about that. Any specific times or days to trade? That's a very good question. So for me, when it comes to times for trading, I like to go to Forex Factory. Why I go to Forex Factory is I want to see which news is coming out and how much impact it's going to have on the instruments I'm looking to trade. So for example, today, it was a very intense day for the UK in terms of news data coming out. It was inflation numbers that were coming out from there, and also inflation numbers for the United States. United States showed worse than expected numbers for inflation, and also the UK remained unchanged. Now, those things have an impact on the instrument that you'll be trading. So if you don't know What it means if it remains unchanged or you haven't been following the markets frequently enough, you're going to want to stay away from that currency pair. So let's say I was trading today, I would not have traded the GDP USD FTSE in this instrument until after 1 o'clock, and then I would not have traded the S&P 500 gold, Euro USD, and Brent until what time was the announcement? Until 2:30. At least then I understand what the movement of the markets is, and then I would react accordingly. So, with this in mind, for tomorrow, uh, Canada is in main focus, and then drug is also speaking. Also, just keep in mind with the American markets, the dollar, there is some customer sentiment, so business confidence rather, of how everyone's doing and everything. So previously it was better than what's forecasted at the moment. So you want to see what's happening there. When it comes to unemployment rate, it's anticipated that's going to remain unchanged, and unemployment change is the number is forecasted at much lower than the previous month, meaning less people got they're anticipating less people got jobs, or rather are unemployed. Wait, sorry, I'm mumbling. Number of employed people during the previous month. Yes, I was okay. I was right. So if there's less employed people, it's bad for the economy. So, and it will tell you. I don't have to be there. If actual is greater than, it's good for the currency. So if there's less than 17,000 people, it's going to be bad, meaning the Canadian dollar is going to suffer. So you're going to plan your trades according to that. Okay, so that I hope that answers your time question, Nelly Siwe. Yes, Johanna, with regards to the so it's up to you. So if you think of yourself as a day trader, yes, you want to stick between 4 hour, 1 hour type charts and get into those trades and get out. My experience with the markets, especially with trading, is that you want to get in and out more trades than hold it for a long period. Uh, Otherwise, you're simply investing. So if you can make 3 trades a day, 2 of them are incorrect and one is right. However, your risk reward ratio is 1 to 2. If 2 of them are wrong and one is right, you would have been you've just broken even rather. So you just break even if you have a 66% failure rate. So if you place 3 trades a day and you have a target of how much money, and that's very important, you need to have a target of how much money you're looking to make a day. In that way, you can then trade on a continuous basis and then keep track record, because if what you measure grows, and if you hold a trade for 5 days, you're not necessarily looking into it, you're not following up, etc. Frederick, what happened to the spreads? Okay. Frederick, when it comes to the spreads, it was Frederick, when it comes to the spreads, everything is you're correct. It's CFDs, and the main reason for that is that we had to incorporate everything onto one platform. And unfortunately, the spreads, the great thing about that, we were using a futures contract in order to view those instruments. However, we have stopped using futures contracts now. And we went to spot prices. That's why everything now is a CFD, and also it gets mark to market on a daily basis. Okay, Tamsanga, what instruments can you trade after hours as you're at work? And I appreciate the fact that you understand your timetable. Please do not try and trade according to what everyone else is doing. trading is a very personal thing, and you should try and do it according to what your understanding is and your timetable. Do not compromise your time uh, for trading. So sorry, I diverted there, or digressed rather there a bit. But Tamsanga, if you want to trade, what I'll say is what instruments is the S&P 500 and the S&P and American markets, basically those indices. You can also still trade euro, the currencies. You can trade some currencies, and you can also trade uh, what else is there? Commodities, your golds, your oil, etc. What you should do in just in assistance, I would suggest that you wake up a bit earlier. So in your morning routine, you start maybe at 6 instead of 7, or 5 instead of 6, and then what you do is that you put according to what you're seeing, you build your charts, etc., etc., and then you know that these are the instruments you want to get into today. And once that you've set that up, what you can do then after you've set it up, you can then put alerts. Alerts will then inform you when the instrument passes a certain price. So how to put an alert? Let's take this for example. So for example, we're looking at this particular trade, and we say as soon as this goes below this mark, we know that it's broken past this support level. So you want to put an alert at 109.30 for USD JPY. What you're going to do is then go here, right? Go to alerts, right click on anywhere in the space there, create an alert. We're doing an alert for this, and we say when the last price is less than last price is less than 109.3. And however, what you must do is that you must ensure that your mobile device is linked to your computer, and then you say okay. And as soon as it gets below that mark, as you can see, there's an arrow there. As soon as it gets there, you will receive an SMS telling you that the instrument has reached that point, and then you can look at the charts and then analyze it then, or just go into the trade. Or if you don't have time, let's say you were busy in surgery, instead of putting an alert, you can then put an order. And once the order is executed, then you'll get into it. Okay. Okay, Don, I'll answer you now. It's quite a long-winded answer. I'll answer you though. I still have to answer the margin call question. Disha, for alerts, you just go to at the bottom in the toolbox rather, go to alerts and then insert it there. Okay, before I answer the margin question and and do analysis on the Dow Jones, are there any more questions? I see that we have 2 more minutes left. Why, thank you, Disha. Okay. And okay, Richard and Don, I'm going to unmute you guys. Okay, first, Charles, your question. Charles, in order to add the time frame, go to View, Toolbox, and then click on Time Frames, and then it will appear. So again, View, Toolbox, Time Frame. Okay. Richard, I've unmuted you. You've raised your hand. Do you have any question? Okay. Okay. Now it's time for Don's question about, what was the question about? Entering. So, to be quite frank, Don, there's a large amount of strategies I use in order to enter, and luckily we have them listed on our website. So what you do is you go to gt247.com, boom, go to resources, education, and then uh, just have a read a bit. So you want to read on chart patterns. You want to read up on another hack on chart patterns, candlestick patterns, and you can also look at oscillators like your RSI, your moving averages, etc., etc. So there's that to look at. So that's I'll say just go there because I'm thinking about everyone else. Someone asked about downloading this. So what I'm going to do to everyone that participated today, I'm going to send you the link of the recorded video. I'll send it to everyone who joined me today. Okay, and then we have to explain margin call or margin. Go to resources again. Go to margin calculator. This is how you. So you first have to download the margin calculator if you want to be able to calculate the margin, rather obviously. Ba-da-ba-ba. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Okay. Obviously enable editing, and then what you're going to do, you select your instrument. So let's say, for example, the CAC 40. Then you have to put in whatever the CAC 40's current price is. So I'm not looking at it. I'll say it's at 2,000. Whatever the current price is, and let's say you want to go in, you have a 500 Rand account, you only want to risk a margin of 100 Rands, you put 100 in, and then you know how many what your volume is going to be. So it's going to be 2.8. That's going to be a volume. Or let's say, and if you were going in at 1 Rand a point for your CAC, if the price was at 2,000, your margin required is 35 Rands and 80 cents. One more time, you first select the instrument you want to put in, and then you select the price it currently is trading at, or you input rather the price is currently trading at. You either determine your margin amount you want, or you put in the amount of contracts or volume you're looking to go in for, and it will calculate the results for you. Okay. Last question. Any more questions? Have I missed anything? Let's have a look at how the trades are doing. Okay, S&P and USD JPY, that's starting to come back. Gold, let's look at them individually. So S&P is continuing to rally. We went long here. Ooh, as I said previously, it might retest and then continue to go up. So we not gonna cry over spilt milk, but let's put the stop loss just below there. If it goes below that mark, it wasn't a good trade. Here we're still going long. As you can see, the market's going sideways. We anticipate at least it's going to get up to there, but let's put a stop loss here also. Oh, we didn't trade the FTSE. Okay, that's interesting. And here we bought and we already put our stop loss with the Euro USD. Brent, oh, we're still on a daily chart. We didn't actually analyze the Brent. Okay, because going sideways, there's not much coming out of Brent at the moment. The last one is the short on USD JPY. High five, Nomta. High five. It's a pleasure to be helpful to you. Sorry, to be of any help. Last round of questions. We have 5. There we go, Disha. That's how it's done. That's how you make money. Last round of questions until 7:10. Is there anything I missed out? Just let me know. Okay, I've got a question for you guys actually. I would like to know what should our next webinar be about? Do we go again, make another trade for an hour trade with me webinar? Or do we do a Q&A session again? I want to hear from you guys. Do we do a fundamentals webinar? Or what's happening in the market right now? Nice one, Tisha. I'll look into that. Sorry, let me read your question. Okay. Tisha, I would say there's no one thing. Investopedia is all about definition, so it's not really a great website in order of what's happening at the moment. A nice website would be investing.com. It would be sharenet.com, moneyweb.com. I mean, moneyweb.co.za rather. What other one am I using at the moment? Forex Factory. MoneyWeb, Investing, ShareNet. Yeah, that's the few I can think of right at the top of my head. So just to reiterate, I would look at investing.com, bloomberg.com, sharenet.com, forexfactory.com. Yeah, I'll have a look at those. Almost reached our take profit at the S&P. We said for everyone we're going to get out when it reaches 10. A nice trick I'm going to teach you next time is that once you get into a nice profit, let's say now you stay-at-home trader and all you're doing is scalping the entire time. Instead of taking the profit when it reaches your target, you wait until, let's say, it gets to 20. For example, our target for this session was that if it gets to 10, we take profit. So now instead of getting to 10, when it gets to 20, you move your stop loss to the 10 mark, so that even if it goes against you, you make a profit of 10. Now that's an advanced, that's when you're a stay-at-home trader. So we take our profit at the S&P. Okay. Okay. And it's 10:07. Thank you everyone for joining me and taking time out of your evenings to sit down with myself. And we went through and joining me actually for this webinar. I hope it was informative. As I said again, if you have any platform, any questions, please write them down. I can always go to these questions after the webinar's over, and then I'll answer you guys when I'm sending you the links. The recordings of this webinar. I like to interact with clients. I also understand how hard it is to get started, and that's why I appreciate if you have questions. And there is no such thing as a stupid question. Stupid questions are the ones you don't ask. Plus, do you just keep in mind that if the spread is high, it is possible that the last traded price didn't reach that price. However, your bid and or offer reached that price. That's why you were taking out prematurely, Priscilla. However, I will give you a shout tomorrow and we can discuss this in depth. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Ryan. Okay, and that is it. We'll see again. We'll see each other. Sorry, rather. We'll see each other next time. And please do not forget to subscribe to our blog. It's blog at gt247.com. That's where all the information is released.